Won't have it again. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Won't have it again. Also want to say, I walked out of your class last time, and I didn't give you a chance because I was like, just thought it was stupid, and I apparently missed some good stuff, and I'm sorry about that too.
Okay. I mean, it didn't hurt my feelings.
I know it didn't hurt your feelings, but it hurt my mind. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to do better. You know what I'm saying? A little bit of perseverance through things that don't exactly meet directly. You know what I'm saying? Sorry.
Cool.
And I'm sorry about the broomstick too.
It's fine.
I'm a different person today than I was that day.
Okay. That was just your 12-year-old pissed off boy coming out.
That's right. That's true.
And your mama's titty don't hang out with me. So cool. Okay. So I mean, that's good. That shows some maturity. Man stuff, not the boy stuff. So good for you.
David, and well done.
Because the purpose of the stupid stuff or the weird stuff or however it comes across is that there is a range of knowledge that we have no idea of, and that we typically exist in this tiny little cognitive world we've created, and we think that's reality. And it's really just based on family dynamics and the programming of the culture that enjoys us being afraid and confused. The whole system is based on fear, which creates dependency of whatever, shopping too much on QVC or judging other people or heroin, or it's all the same shit. You know? And the thing in you that rebels is righteous. Okay? It's just sometimes we rebel against the things that could actually set us free, because we cling to our gods that are no gods. And in the Old Testament they would talk about idolatry, and current vernacular they would talk about addiction. It's the same thing. And all addiction is of the mind or the brain or whatever. It tries to keep us encapsulated in this idea that we are the narrative we've created about ourselves. You know? Yes, sir?
Isn't that our nature before we taught right from wrong is to rebel?
God said He created us fearfully and wonderfully. That's how we were created. I don't think so, no. I think that, disinvite those gentlemen. There's nothing personal, it's just a principle. Next week on Hee Haw. Because even Glenn Fry wrote a song about the age of innocence. When we're before consciousness, before awareness of the idea that we are. That's how we come into the world. You know. And after a while, through the use of language and whatever, symbols, and the authorities in your life saying things like, you must love me, because you want to. And this double bind gets set up. You know, God loves you, but He's about to beat your ass. And God is so needy and codependent that if you don't read your Bible every day, He's going to get mad at you and not send magical blessings in your life. But if you do these magical formulas and say these magical words, then God will love you and sprinkle happy Jesus dust on you. And our experience of that many times, I mean, I have a master's degree from the Southern Baptist Theological Seminary in philosophy and psychology and Greek and Hebrew and all that mess. Okay. It's not, whatever. I mean, it's cool to know, but it's not the thing. Because I was a pastoral counselor, and that was like the Top Gun people of the seminary, you know. We were the cool ones.
You're like Matt.
Yeah, baby. And I studied that stuff. I was in my 20s still, because I thought they might have the answer, because that was my whole thing, is I wanted to know something, you know. And after going through that process, I figured out all my professors were on antidepressants.
They were on it.
They were promoting it because they were so enamored of the medical model. You know, and basically it was their metaphysic was so small, they tried harder. It's called metaphysical envy. They thought their their potency was too small, so. Anyway, I don't know what all that's about. What'd you ask me? Oh, the nature of a human being. Okay. Because Paul talks about be in the world, not of it, right? No, thank you. Oh, you can, because you ain't on contract. And what does be in the world but not of it mean?
Live here but don't live by its principles that are, set up by social standards or social media. To me, like the things that poison you on the inside, you have to live here in the world. But as far as the world's, like their ideas or their whatever, it's not what you live by. That's what makes me.
Don't let the world be what brings you joy.
Exactly. Don't love the worldly things.
I take it by fit means, physically we're here, but don't be bound by the mentality and emotions of this world. Be above the world.
Okay. And now, how do we do that? What does that mean?
Well, I guess you can't say like, don't let the world bring you joy, because maybe
Who created the world?
Yeah.
Live according to God and not the world.
So, in our religious magical practices, we're trained. I came up Baptist, and we did things like Bible drills. Y'all ever done that? Right? They call it John 3:16, and all these 8-year-olds will go, "For God so loved the world." Okay. Pretty much, if you've ever been to Sunday school, you can answer pretty much every question with either God, Jesus, or Moses. Or something, God. Oh, good, very good. Have faith. Okay. How many people do you think in the whole Christian world can define what faith is?
Beyond Webster's definition, not many.
46.7.
What does Webster say?
46.7.
Faith is the substance of things unseen and the things hoped for, or something. Isn't that what everybody says? That's what the Baptists say?
That's what the Bible says. But what does that mean? What does that mean?
I don't think most people truly know what it
Belief
means.
without proof.
Huh?
Belief without proof.
No.
Faith means
What part of speech is faith, the word faith?
trusting.
Verb.
It's a verb. So belief is not a verb.
Belief is a noun, there's a.
Faith is an action. Jesus said you'll believe the truth and what?
It will set you.
Truth will set you free.
No, he didn't say you'll believe the truth. You'll know the truth. What's the difference?
Believe is a verb, know is
Experiential. That was experience.
You know, I mean, all these things are kind of profound and fundamental to our religion. Yet we've many times not thought about what it means. We've just repeated the magic words and going, why does God not love me? I've done my trick, now give me my treat. You know? I went to Turning Point for 15 days and I wasn't fixed. You know, I did some of the rules.
Living by it and actually believing it.
Maybe belief has some give to it, and know it just doesn't concrete.
It's gotta be.
I think believing comes before knowing. You believe before you know. Like, as a young Christian, I believed many things, and as I experienced life experiences, I began to know God's love for me. I believed God loved me, but I didn't know God loved me until I had experience.
To me, like, believe means I will risk, and then know means I've experienced.
And these things that we're throwing around in here are symbols. Okay. And we can talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and get the right answers about stuff and still not have a fucking clue. Right?
Right.
That's an attempt. If you ever hear me talk about fiction or the page world or the cartoon two-dimensional world, that's the world of symbols. It's not real. Okay? It's fun, but the world is the world system, sarks, what Paul talks about. Many times, you come up Baptist, baby? Methodist. We're the same, we're cousins. So if y'all could drink every once in a while, right? Praise the Lord. Roll Tide, Jason. No, gotta go. Gotta go.
I'm at 30. My hand.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah. No, cool, it's cool. Just shh. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, the two-dimensional world. Okay. The Greek word is sarx. How do you make a A-R-C, I think, you know, whatever it is. And when Paul talks about the world or flesh, he's not just talking about beating your meat. Okay? Which is many times the connotations we get, don't be fleshly. You know, because Christianity is so obsessed with sex that they won't even read the Song of Solomon out loud in church. Y'all ever read the Song of Solomon?
Yes.
Read it to your girlfriend sometime. The Song of Solomon. The whole end, the ending of the Christian story is a consummation, a wedding, sexual, spiritual, whatever. You know. And the root of the system, especially now, is something we talk about as what does mono mean? Eye, or one eye. It's an illusion. Especially now. Used to, they at least traded rocks and shit. Okay? Now I mean, I don't get into all that crap, but I mean, money is an illusion. It's just, it's Monopoly. Except at least when you're playing Monopoly and when you at least had paper to trade. I heard that they're coming up with a Monopoly game that's digital, so to get you more in tune with all that. But the Monopoly idea, that's the world system. That's how it works. The game of life, and you're programmed. Y'all ever played Life and you had the little cars and little stick people? That's the program we get through public government education. It says, you're kind of on probation, you're not human yet, so you got to do these things and jump through these hoops so that one day you'll get that thing that your heart wants. 2nd grade, 6th grade, 12th grade, and you get a piece of paper and you go, is this all this? What? Is this it? Anybody go to college? And you go, well, it must be in college. So I'll go do this, and I'm $80,000 in debt and can only work in McDonald's because I studied some retarded thing. You know, I can't wipe my own ass or build my own house or grow my own food. All I know how to do is play in this illusion game. Roll the dice. Keep your eye on the ball. What happens when you keep your eye on the ball?
Make contact.
You miss everything else around it.
You're playing the game. Okay? And our identity comes from the role, the person we are, right? You know what person means? Where does that word come from? Yes, from the Greek tragedies. Basically, person or persona is the mask we put on to get involved in the play. That's not who we are. So when you say I'm a person, you're saying I'm fake. If you understand the language of it. You know, we may have a different meaning of it, but we're retarded. That's what it's about. And so we spend years and decades trying to work out this equation of why am I dissatisfied, no matter how much I achieve or how much crack I sold or did or how many strange tooties I saw, it never works. No matter how many bulls I ride, no matter how many fish I catch, no matter how many home runs I hit, there's always that which says, no, this ain't quite it. You know?
Yeah, you always want more.
Yeah. And we can get a little fix. It's like me trying to scratch my nose in this mirror. I don't exist in there. I can see something, you know. But I can see some eyes, but those are not me. There's a sense in which we can't see into our own eyes. All right? But the person or whoever I am is the one looking through those eyes. Not what I see out here. Not what I see in my girlfriend or my wife or my kids or my job or my whatever. And so I'm trying, many times we're programmed to solve our problems outside ourselves. You know? And we get attached to religion or politics or groovy Gaia hippie stuff, or we spent 8 years doing conspiracy theory research on the internet or whatever. Because we're looking for, any of y'all ever done that? I did for years. Because I want to know something. And I've gone down 14 different rabbit holes. And at the end of every one of them, you go, yeah, they lied. Okay. But you're still like, now what? You know what I'm saying? them fucking people, them CIA people, the earth ain't round and motherfuckers. And all that energy gets dissipated out in the universe, and we just go round and round and round the same cul-de-sacs. Or different, but it's the same stuff. I watched some documentaries Monday. One was is a feminist documentary girl who was going to go expose the misogynistic men's rights people. Y'all ever heard about the men's right, men going their own way and all that stuff? And she got into that process and began to see past the stereotypes. And it was really a cool, the story really was about her transformation. And she was a staunch feminist, and now she's not a feminist. She's not necessarily she's not an ist anymore. Just put
Pertaining to.
ist. If you're an ist, you're an illusion. Do you know that I do not respect women? You know, because women don't exist. There are individual females that exist. And some individual females are worthy of respect and some are not. Just like individual males, some are worthy of respect and some are not. You know, it's a head game. The black and white issue. A majority of white people and black people don't have, I hate niggers, or fuck the crackers, or, you know, they're not like that. Okay? It's ginned up. They're a racist. You're a racist. You're an anti-womanist, or whatever they call it, you know, misogynist. You're a xenophobic. You're a part of an entity. Christianity. All that stuff is conceptual and not the real thing. The word and symbols are used and been used since Babylon. It's the same stuff over and over and over again. Y'all know what this symbol is? Y'all ever seen that symbol?
Yeah.
What is that? Jesus fish. Okay? Let me draw it another way. Like that. That's where the symbol originates. The goddess worship. The fish people. You ever seen what the Pope wears on his head? A fish hat. It's the same shit from Babylon and Egypt. Okay. You like that, don't you? To rub it right here. You know what a mouse? You ever seen a picture of a mouse with the fingers in a little clit right here?
Yeah.
I mean, those symbolic stuff it's anyway. I'm getting. And so what I do, because it's good when people get pissed off at me. I'm not going around, I'm going to go piss him off, because I didn't even know if I would ever talk to you again, you know. But when I have a way of people either love me or hate me, and if right, Coach, remember that? And when I trigger something in somebody, it's really cool, or potentially cool, for them to make a transition like you did. You know, because it's triggering this symbolic bullshit, because you don't know me. But you were projecting whatever you were projecting onto me based on your whatever. It has nothing to do with me. That's why it doesn't make me mad or whatever, you know. But when that happens, I kind of watch and see. Because there may be a real human in there somewhere, you know. So I guess I ain't gonna do the story today, but that's cool.
What is the real us? What is our real identity? You went through all the, physical stuff.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, baby, you can't, when you know, there are no words for it.
How do you get to a place of enlightenment and beyond symbols? It's just everyone's own path, their own way, and there's no right or wrong, I guess, right?
No, there's right or wrong.
Or right and wrong not a symbol? We define what's right and wrong. Society defines what's right and wrong. We learn what's right and wrong. People who teach us how do we learn what's right and wrong in our own.
Gravity don't give a fuck what you think.
Yeah, it's still there.
There is truth. It's not about, well, I just kind of, that's sophicism in philosophy. The only truth I can know is what's in, whatever. I don't believe in gravity. We'll go walk on that roof and jump off and see what happens. First you gotta want to. And once you want to, it's already done. It's just a matter of ticking the clock. Because I can describe stuff to you, but it would be nothing more than me telling you about the estuary in Mobile Bay. And I could show you some videos of it and say this is the map to it. But you can't know Mobile Bay till you go jump your ass in it. And even then, your description of it is just, it's not the thing itself. It's just telling somebody about something. And, if somebody's never been to the ocean, you can describe, it's kind of like being in a swimming pool. But it ain't like being in a swimming pool.
Cool.
Huh?
Be cool.
I mean, the smells and the feels and the motion of the waves knocking your ass down, and you get sand in your butt crack, and it's shit you can't know till you go. And it's the same way with God. And then there's all this stuff y'all read is great, nothing wrong with it. Okay? But if you stay on a cognitive level the whole time, you'll learn your lessons and you can get a gold star, and I graduated Turning Point, and Jesus loves me now, and you get your t-shirt. Anybody ever been to rehab before? And it's just different cultures. They talk about a higher power or Jesus or whatever, but they all have their little cultures, and you got your smoking places, and you got coffee, and then you got the underground black market shit that goes on. It's the same boring shit. At best, this is Mario. Who have new experiences. The temptation when we come to a place, generally people come here in duress of some kind. The judge, the mama, the wife, the something. And that those kinds of nodal events kind of break open our thinking a little bit. And we're open, I'll do anything, yeah. I ain't gonna eat in my bed, jack off in the shower, and we sign a piece of paper or whatever. And then part of the nature of human being is we're not taught well by pain. Right? Because during the pain, we make all these promises, but in a month it's gone, and we've adjusted ourselves to whatever new claim. Y'all ever been to jail? Remember the first time? Anybody been there again?
Yep.
It's kind of all the same old shit, whatever. Pain don't teach us shit. All pain can do is kind of go, something's up. And it gives us an opportunity to maybe grow whatever. The temptation is to get back into those same old patterns. If you'll watch who you're hanging out with here, same shit, just in a different bag of skin. Listen to your conversations. It's the same old stuff many times. there's no new depth, there's no new awareness, there's no new consciousness of who I am or what the delights of my heart is. It said, the scripture says God delights in giving us the desires of our heart. That's true. Whatever is the root of your addiction is the desire of your heart, and thus is righteous. You know? But we stay on this surface thing, and hell, the whole media thing is designed to say you're not good enough, so go get this. You're a battery, you're a cog, and you're a consumer. Okay? That's the world system. Okay? Basically, in a lot of evangelical churches, God and Santa Claus philosophically serve the same function. What does Santa Claus do?
He's always watching.
He's always watching. And you get on a list, the Santa Claus Book of Life.
Beer.
And if you act good on a magical night, he'll come leave you your prizes. You know? And our churches promote that bullshit. For the churches that claim to, but the Bible is the Bible is the Bible, they teach children that the wise men showed up that night. The whole fucking story's taught wrong. Do you know that? We just kind of blow that off, whatever. You know? In our, not always, but many times, my experience was that God became this eye in the sky that was watching me all the time. And if I acted right, I'd get a prize, and if not, I'd be on, on a naughty list or something. That's our culture. You know, our culture, churches, their founding documents are what? Do y'all know? It's an incorporation document. Any of y'all lawyers? Y'all could probably talk about it better than me. Called a 501c3. Y'all know what that is? It's called a non-profit organization or corporation. You tell me if I do it wrong, okay?
Okay.
And that is basically an agreement between a corporation, which is a dead thing, it's a paper thing, that gets rights as a person somehow. But we remember person is a false thing to start with. It's a role. And the agreement is with that church that they will not get into certain topics. They're not going to talk about certain things in order to forego Caesar taking their shit from them. That's the agreement. That's the foundational documents of all corporate churches in America anyway. And so when you hear people talking about separation of church and state, it's all a fucking illusion. Because their foundational documents are they become an agent of the state and make an agreement not to do certain behaviors in order to not be taxed. Okay? And I'm not dogging out all churches or nothing like that. They're not, in my opinion, they've not even thought through it. And it's better than a crack house generally. So. Because kind of where I'm at with the church is they've had 2,000 years to figure some shit out. And they kind of keep going around the same old stuff. The corporate church, I'm not talking about the ecclesia, the spiritual body of Christ. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about religion. There's nothing wrong with religion necessarily. Nothing wrong with belief. But the goal is to know. Because once I know, I no longer have to believe. I don't have to argue with retards about shit. I'm not going to argue with a retard about the sky being purple polka dot. I'm going to go, okay, baby. Love you. What, boy?
I was gonna say, in my opinion, maybe it's ignorance, I don't know, I don't think it is. I think weak-minded people love religion.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to think about anything, it's what you're told. You don't have to think beyond what you're told.
I totally agree with you.
I think weak-minded people cling to religion.
Yeah. And scientism is a religion. Materialism is a religion. Darwinism is a religion. And weak-minded people cling to those.
Gives them an answer without having to.
But they think they're usually, I mean, it's basically just communist shit that the Rothschilds and them pushed a long time ago. Because if there is no creator, then the state can own you. And statism is a religion, looking for answers in politics. The state does not bestow rights. Now this is theology, y'all. This is the shit that got Jesus and them killed. Not because he didn't touch his pee-pee in the shower. This is the stuff that the church, corporate church, makes a deal not to get into. And if some of y'all are more interested in this than you ever have been in some kind of religious talk, it's because it's real. You feel the difference, boy?
What's the difference in the two churches?
Which one?
What you're saying is a certain kind of church that goes by this and say a Baptist church you can't look at.
The real church doesn't need corporate documents to exist. And it's not necessarily a particular group of people that meet at a certain address. God doesn't, addresses are an illusion too. Just like inches are an illusion. They're handy illusions, but there are no inches that exist in reality. It's somebody putting their hand over something and going, I need 12 of them. And it just got handy to make because the inch came from that, your thumb knuckle. And everybody's thumb knuckle ain't quite the same, so standardize it. Time is the same thing. It's just, there are no 360-degree circles in reality. That's why they have to adjust and have leap years to make their version of reality fit, or their construct fit what is real. But we get lost in, oh, it's time, I gotta go. Time is money, time is money. Well, money and time are an illusion. They're handy. I like electricity and air conditioning and shit. Okay? That's not what I'm saying. But if my identity is rooted in the system, if I am my social security number, if I am this corporate name that appears on my birth certificate that is traded in the stock market, I am the stock of this system. Right? And my identity is attached to making that persona function well in that system. And it will never ever satisfy any more than me scratching my nose in the mirror will. You know?
Is it kind of, pretty much, I guess, changed in time, like generation? I mean, is
They do the same.
Our world that we live in today?
We just got Twitter and shit now. And it's more dangerous now because there is a single culture trying to get placed. There's McDonald's in Dubai. There's the whole consumer idea. So, and a lot of these questions I can't answer for you because you got to go there and jump in. But understanding that I did not create myself. The world didn't create me. That I'm not just this random chaotic urge that is basically a religious belief in Darwinism or materialism. Because materialist, y'all know what basic, like hardcore materialist, it's just matter. But even they got to start with a miracle. They call it a singularity. But that's a miracle, because you can't talk about that because that's just happened one time. And so, but the would-be rulers of the planet have claimed divine authority to be the kings, right? From get-go. Or they had special relationship with the gods or some stuff. And all you Anunnaki folks, y'all Anunnaki folks and the aliens and the thing and Sitchin and all that. I mean, it's in the Bible. It says the sons of God was fucking the humans. You ever heard a sermon on that? You know. And you can spend 14 years becoming a Sitchin expert, and after that 14 years you'll still be going, and you can know everything about what he said and all this stuff, and at the end of it though you'll be going, okay, now what? You know? Because whether the earth is a ball or a pear shape or a big disc floating on a turtle's back, you encounter the earth typically one step at a time. You know? And all that stuff is, I think there's some positive stuff about running down them rabbit holes if you can figure out, well, this ain't it. What's it? And the temptation, though, is to then go to another rabbit hole, and another rabbit hole, and another rabbit hole. The theology of the Matrix is getting to the place where you go, this is bullshit. I love it. Because no matter how well you define your words, your terms, if some of y'all are philosophically bent, and you spend 3 months debating what epistemology is and what is appropriate epistemology, and it's going to take you 10,000 words to define that one word, okay? And you'll have an illusion that you have a definition or you know it, but you really don't, because how are you going to define, what are you going to define the words you define the word with? It's just more words. You know. And words are cool and fun, but it's not reality. Reality is, if the scientists are right, it's energy. You know, manifesting at different frequencies. Some of it, because of its frequency stuff, exists in what we call the material plane. But that's not all reality. I mean, any of y'all know about light spectrums and stuff like that? Okay, how much of that spectrum can we see and experience?
Very small fraction.
Tiny.
720 to, I forget what it is, very small.
Yeah. And our experience of reality is based on 5 input devices that respond to frequencies and the energy. You know.
X-ray, radio waves.
Bunch of them. And that's just the ones they figured out. So, you know. And just remember, back in the 70s, it was global cooling. Then it became global warming, and now it's what? Climate change. It's a fucking head game. They want to tax your farts and breathing and shit. Okay? The Church of Climatology. It's a religion. You ever had tried to debate one of these retards? Or just have there's no critical thinking about any of that. And it's all knee-jerk bullshit. And the knee-jerk progressives that don't even understand what all that means are dogging out Trump, and they're like junior high people. Did you see Melania's dress? Trump's hair is... And they spend hours and hours talking about this crazy shit that's irrelevant. I don't care whose pussy Trump touched. I would prefer him doing that than the politicians that's raping little kids. But we don't talk about that, because that's on both sides. And I put up, and then you got the folks on the right doing junior high shit with the folks on the left, and both of them getting fucked in the ass. By the same damn people. Because politics is like WWE, or whatever it's called, wrestling. It's a show. It's a control system. Yes.
I was just wanting obviously this is a Christian-based rehab, but I was raised Southern Baptist, had preacher, father, grandfather, all that shit. And I've gotten so many arguments with Christians about the societal bullshit, religious bullshit that we're under some control of, even some of it in the Bible, bullshit law. And it's all make-believe. And people who, and I've got fights with people who have friends who are Buddhists, friends who practice this religion, or no religion, and it's just all a fucking name that we give them. Whether it be Buddha, whether it be God.
And all that's fine, but that's still engaged in the system.
Yeah, and I don't believe it.
Because part of the issue with the black-white thing, or the man-women thing and all, is they're all looking for their rights from the government. I mean, why do gay people ask the government to get married? I mean, why do heterosexual people ask the government to get married? It's none of their damn business.
Just a piece of paper.
It's a corporate merger is all a marriage license is. Those two corporations are joined. That's why you go to court and you don't talk about who did what to who, or is this moral or not. It's a business, a dissolution of a corporation is what a divorce proceeding is. Was that wrong?
I think it's a dissolution of a partnership. But either way, you're talking about a legal fiction. For the purposes of the law, you're creating.
It's a financial proceeding. And who owns the kids? Or who is the state that think they own the kids going to let keep them? Why are we looking to the government when our founding documents say our rights don't come from them? But case law and all kind of bullshit has replaced our founding documents anyway. We ain't lived in a representative republic in a long time. About the 60s, they started calling it a democracy, which the founding fathers would have hated. Democracies for fools. Yeah, are you a citizen of the Corporation of the United States or America? And say, well, nobody knows that shit because they were studying climate change in school. And they're keeping everybody stupid. And they tell them when to sit down and the bell rings, get up, Pavlov's dog, walk in a straight line. And if you get out of line, you have to take Ritalin. It's not in a boy's nature to sit still and be a girl for 8 hours a day. I mean, and nope. It's intentional. It's not an accident. I mean, read the founding documents of the National Education Association and the folks that started all that stuff. It's not so that you can fulfill your life and become one with the universe and God, and it's so you can become a cog in the wheel somebody else made. That's the world system. That's what Paul's talking about. Jesus was talking about the same things. You understand that Farrakhan, y'all know Louis Farrakhan?
Yeah.
He's still alive, right? Which one of them black folks they killed? Martin Luther King Jr. Why'd they kill him? No. Because white folks was joining up. White folks don't join the black Muslims. That keeps that going, that energy. Anyway, so, of course you got to want to know. And that become your pearl of great price. The coin that you lost in the house. The parables that Jesus told about the kingdom of heaven is like this girl that lost one of her 10 coins, and those 10 coins were her dowry. So she could marry, you know. And she discovered that she lost one of those coins, and that's all she focused on until she found it. You know. And if you seek, you'll find. If you knock, the door will be open. And what's the other one? No, I don't care about the numbers. There's another one. Seek and you shall find, knock. Seek, ask. Oh yeah, ask and you shall be given. When you want to know like that, it's almost already done. I mean, ask the dude behind you. Mm-hmm. And you don't do it like him necessarily. There's Buddhist practices. They're not even Buddhist. There's lots of Christian mystic people that we're not taught about, especially as Baptists or Pentecostals. You know. But the whole foundation is be still and know. Get out of our head. You know, Paul had 14 PhDs. He was smartest of the smartest of the smartest. And he bumped up the limit of the Truman Show in his head. And go, well, this ain't the world, is it? And he figured out that he is not the one that he created through all that stuff and that he thought he was. And when that shattered, he identified himself as the chief of sinners in need of grace. Not because he touched his pee-pee, you know, but because basically he didn't create himself. And all of his writings, you have to understand it in the idea, in the context of grace and humility, not being a doormat. Because Paul said, you know, respect your authorities and you know, and that's, Jesus said, give to Caesar what's Caesar, so bring your tithe. Or whatever. Jesus, I understand that to mean Jesus is saying, give back to Caesar what is Caesar, and then you won't be his bitch no more. Give back to Caesar what he has bribed you with, so you will no longer be his bitch. That's how the government works. That's how the federal government takes over the state governments with grants and stuff. And once Caesar gets, he owns you. I mean, that's how it's always worked. You know, the government has made a claim that they own all the land and the water. I hadn't seen a deed. But they make a claim, and as long as nobody refutes that claim en masse, they keep it. Because we're worried about Jason Aldean, Alabama, Auburn bullshit. Because we're in the game, keeping our eye on the ball. You know? Maybe we'll win a home run and they'll give us a piece of paper or a shiny thing. That's what they did in the Roman armies. They'd give them a little hunk of metal and say, you're special. You'll die your ass tomorrow, but here's your little piece of shit that you can wear and brag that you're better than retard over there. Oh. That's and you can't make yourself want to know. There's counselor's been here 3 times, right?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And every time was a righteous thing. You know, it wasn't a failure. None of it, because he needed to know what he learned the first time to deal with in the second time and the third, you know.
I think that's been true through, if you just want to look at addiction, my alcoholism. When I look back now over the 18 years and all the places I've been, it's not been a waste. It's been pieces that I needed to pick up.
Mm-hmm. But you're looking at me like you're interested now, so I'm thinking you might be wanting to know. You know? Your temptation will be trying to figure it out. Talk to the guy behind you. And it's cool to figure it out, and you know, you can put your little flow charts up there, and you know, and it can be good communicating to somebody else or whatever. But there's a place below your depression, below your shame, below or outside it or something. I don't know where it is spatially, but where you can realize that you're already okay. That God does hold you in His hand. That He has hid you in the cleft of a rock. Because if anybody in here has been sexually molested or violently beat or whatever crazy shit that you come up with, part of our problem with that stuff is we think, because that's part of our narrative of our persona, but that wasn't us. It was something that the real part of us or whatever, we were always protected. You know? And then some weird fuck put a mind fuck on us. Because that's what it is. I mean, because your asshole snaps back, you know. Generally. But it's a mind fuck. Or your pussy snaps back, or your vagina, whatever. Your Jesus fish. Jesus ain't mad, baby, it's fine. Jesus wasn't a Christian, so he's cool. Your head blow up? Okay. But you know, he's like, why'd they turn me into a pussy? He says. Dagon, the fish god. I mean, what do you associate with that symbol, fragrantly? Whatever. I'll say this one last thing. And Jesus said, why do you kick against the goads? Why do you fight? Why do you resist? Why do you rebel? Take my yoke upon you because it's light. It's easy. You know? Part of the culture of recovery is where I'm fighting to stay. I'm working. You know. Because in my opinion, being a well-adjusted citizen is a mind fuck. But that's what we promote. I'm not saying be a maladjusted citizen. That's not the issue. Our whole system is based on dependency and fear. So why do you go to work? Scared to turn my lights off. You know, God didn't create us to be plumbers, and this, that you can, and that's cool, and whatever. The tricky is you can't fix nothing except for that fictional self. God is the one that created you, and He will fix you if you'll relax, overcome your fears and the false programming in here. Because you are more than the product of your mom and daddy humping in the back seat. No. and your brother that she swallowed, you know.
But isn't it more like, it's not so much God fixes you, it's like he unwraps?
I don't, you have to ask him, I don't know.
You know what I'm saying? Well, that's what you said earlier, I'm already okay.
Yeah,
So it's not fixing me, it's just getting rid of it.
well, you're right, that's a bad word. It's, the oak lives in the acorn already. And the acorn just needs to sit still. Quit fussing. You know. That's enough, bye.